in a way. It's just sort of being tired but being scared the whole time.
It's like you're drowning.
You want to break out of it, but you don't know how to break out of it.
It feels like it drains you. It's emotionally draining, physically and mentally. I feel tired all the time. I'm always thinking and just wondering if I can get through this day.
It does feel like being down a big, deep, dark, scary hole, and there's monsters and demons down there.
And it's a black room, and it's like sometimes the walls are talking to you inside your head, but there's nobody there. It's just you, like looking at yourself in a bunch of mirrors.
You don't want to do anything, you can't go anywhere, you feel completely useless.
Sometimes I can't sleep at night because of anxiety, too much constant thoughts.
I had like a mirror at each angle of the wall, and I had the chains built up behind me. And I could hear people saying to me, you know, mate, get out of it, come on, get out of yourself, break free, mate. And however hard I tried, I could not break free out of it.
Depression and anxiety, it sort of feels like a blanket at times, so it can stop you caring about things that you used to, or make you overthink things. It's an invisible disease, so definitely hard to treat.
I guess the easiest way to describe it would be sort of as if you feel really tired and, you know, when you've got like no motivation to do anything at all, but wanting to do something while simultaneously being absolutely terrified because you're not doing something. You're just sort of constantly panicking that there's something coming after you, or that something's going to completely backfire because you've not managed to get out of bed, or that you've managed to get out of bed and like get to school or university, or even just downstairs to eat something, feeling like you've done all of that wrong.
The first diagnosis I've had of any kind of depression was after the birth of my third daughter. That was in 1995, and that doctor diagnosed me with postnatal depression. Bearing in mind she's now 23 and I still have depression, I think she kind of got it a bit wrong. My next official diagnosis was about 15 years later, after I took an overdose, and it took another 2 years before I got to see a therapist.
A lot of it stemmed from working jobs that I disliked. Money's a sort of necessary evil, but if you add on financial burden plus anxiety plus depression, as I say, it can sort of cut you off from the outside world, and when you're alone and you've got yourself talking to yourself upstairs, it sort of leads you down a slippery slope.
Oh, this is a funny one. I first found out that I had, well, at the time it was severe depression and general anxiety disorder, amongst other things, when I had just turned 14. But later on, I was diagnosed with borderline personality disorder at the age of 20.
My experience, well, it took me years to actually tell myself I had depression. I was one of them people, I was like, no, I don't have depression. It's not me. I was just, I didn't cope very well. I lost a lot of friends. I quit uni. The way I coped with depression was I isolated myself from everyone for like 7 years. That's how I coped with it.
I said to her, I'm just going to go to Greg's, I'll be back in a minute. And instead of going to Greg's, I left the shop and I went up to the shopping centre, went to the multi-storey car park where we were parked, went right to the very top, and I climbed over the rail and I just stood there and I just looked down. And for about 15 minutes I was just contemplating the different ways that I could just jump, whether it be feet first, head first, whether I do a flip. Really stupid ideas of where I could do it, and I was adamant on doing it. And then my friend, who I did drama with at sixth form, sent me a text just basically saying, hope it went all right and everything. And I just saw that text and I just realised, that I had someone there who, cared. So then I got back over the rail and went to see Mum again. And to this day, she does not know that story. I don't think anyone does.
Coping with it. Most of the time I don't cope with it. I just stumble from one attack or one low mood to the next.
That then developed into suicidal thoughts and tendencies. I've had experiences smoking, doing drugs, trying to find anything that can bring me some sense of existence in a way.
When I sort of listen to music, you sort of get lost in the world of the song, and you sort of forget yourself for a moment of who you actually are, and it's sort of a nice release in a way. I had cognitive behavioural therapy for about 2 months to sort of help with it. It would show me the different ways I was thinking and how I could reevaluate that. And I got to the point where I thought, why am I being told how to live my life? I'm not gonna do that. So I left. And to this day, I still listen to music every now and again, but I don't do it as much these days because I'm not as bad.
So as I'm speaking to you now, I haven't slept in 2 days. I find it very hard to sleep sometimes. I can go 3 or 4 days, and sometimes I take to my bed like it's going out of fashion. When it comes to coping mechanisms, change the scene, alter the mood, and a lot of it is trying to find a purpose within yourself, so trying to find a passion. So for my passion is writing, films, any sort of media. That sort of helps me and sort of informs my writing a bit, and you get a lot of work done. That's probably the upside to it. Antidepressants never work with me, anti-anxiety pills. They can help a lot of people, but for me in particular, it just served as a sort of a reminder that you're not in a good place. You're not in a good place. You're not well. So finding that little niche, that thing that gets you up and interested in something, I think that's what you've got to sort of find. I think medication, people jump on medication too much, and I think, like I said, they can help, but I think it's easier for a doctor or somebody to recommend the magic pill and hope it'll be fine. I think you've got to tackle it within yourself before resorting to medication. When it comes to depression and anxiety, I think it's a very, I'm not sure subjective is the word, but it ranges with people. I read an interesting article that at least everyone will experience a sort of bout of depression, maybe bouts of anxiety. You experience anxieties in like different ways, whether it's talking to someone you like or maybe job interviews, but when it comes to anxiety, it's sort of if it's a diagnosable, it escalates that as it times the problem by 1,000. In regards to it getting better, everyone sort of suffers from anxiety and depression at one stage of their life. So if no one ever recovered from it, you wouldn't see anybody around because they'd all be in bed or they'd all be hiding away. So, like I said, you've got to change the scene, alter the mood, fight it within yourself. And you can always talk to people, talk to your friends, talk to your family. They'll help you out the best they can.
It can be solved by stickability, determination, action plans, talking about it, get yourself out there, you know what I mean? Don't just like keep it bottled in your head, because that's the worst thing you can do, actually, because you're keeping yourself contained, like in four walls, but at the same time, though, you're not getting out there, you're not speaking about it. But if you speak about it to people, eventually there'll be people out there similar to you who have had these similar experiences, so you can relate to each other, you can help each other to get out of that. So I do think it is curable, and I do think that it is solvable. It's just it's up to you as a person to do it, because if I can do it, you can do it as well. You just need to find that inner confidence, inner strength and self-esteem, and just go for it.
It does get better if you listen to your support workers, your therapists, your doctors. If you have a routine, you can get better. But you have to accept depression and overcome the worst of it. I think you can always have depression, but you can get over the worst part of depression.
Honestly, no, it doesn't. You just find easier ways to cope with how you feel.
I think for different people, it does. For me, at the start, it didn't. I mean, I nearly jumped off a multi-story car park. But me personally, I think I've got better. It just depends on who you've got around you, really. I remember I like it when someone asks me, you know, are you okay? Because it just makes you feel as if, you know, there's someone there, and that can help you sort of get better.
It's not something that I can get rid of completely. So no matter what, I'm always going to have really bad days, and I'm always going to have really good days. But when I look at where I was when I was like 13, 14 years old, to where I am now, just about to graduate from university, I'd never even planned to finish my GCSEs. I didn't plan to be alive by the end of my GCSEs. So to see from that to now, I can safely say it does get better, regardless of the circumstance. And if that's one thing that I could push on to my 14-year-old self, I would.
No. It doesn't get better, but I have learned how to cope better. I don't take medication. One, the side effects can be pretty horrendous, and two, I don't think it works. Not for me anyway. So my coping methods are a form of distraction method. I have my artwork, my garden, my photography, my computer work, my volunteer work, and they help me cope. They help things feel a bit better, and sometimes just give me a reason to get out of bed.